The rain had already stopped, but the world outside the hospital window still looked like it was crying. That was the moment she whispered those words, words that shattered him from the inside out. "I don't think I'll see next year," she said softly, her voice trembling like a leaf touched by winter's breath. Daniel froze. His heart felt like it had been yanked out, crushed, and handed back in pieces. But he didn't let her see that. Instead, he wrapped his arms around her, holding her the way a person holds something irreplaceable. Like it was forever. Because in that moment, forever felt painfully short. The beginning of their forever. Daniel and Elena met during their final year of university. He was studying architecture, she was studying psychology. He was the quiet type. She brought color into every silent room. They were opposites, but the kind that fit perfectly together. Their first conversation wasn't romantic. It was messy and awkward. She spilled coffee on his project sheets, apologized 100 times, and insisted on buying him new ones. He laughed and she stared at him, surprised that someone could forgive so easily. That laughter became her favorite sound. And she became his favorite reason to smile. The first sign something was wrong. Life after graduation was simple and hopeful. They found jobs, rented a small apartment, built dreams piece by piece. But then something changed. Elena began to feel tired, beyond normal tired. She lost weight. Her hands trembled. Some mornings she couldn't even lift a cup of tea without it slipping. "Maybe it's just stress," she told him. But Daniel wasn't convinced. He scheduled her medical appointment without telling her. She was annoyed at first, but when the doctor insisted on running tests, fear cracked through her strong exterior. A week later, the results came. And the world stopped. The diagnosis. The doctor's voice was steady, but his eyes couldn't hide the truth. A rare autoimmune disorder, aggressive, unpredictable, dangerous. "We will try everything," he said. But they heard the silent part too. There are no guarantees. Daniel pulled her close the moment they reached the parking lot, but Elena didn't cry, not yet. She just stared at the sky as if searching for answers. "Why me?" she whispered. And for the first time in years, he had no answers at all. Challenge 1: holding on through the pain. Treatment was brutal. Some days Elena felt strong enough to joke with the nurses. Other days she lay curled up, unable to move without pain shooting through her body. Her hair thinned. Her skin grew pale, but through everything Daniel stayed. He learned how to lift her gently. How to massage her hands during flare-ups. How to cook the few meals she could keep down. How to smile even when his own heart was collapsing. But the real challenge wasn't the treatment. It was pretending they weren't running out of time. Challenge 2: her fear of becoming a burden. One evening, after a particularly rough hospital night, Elena looked at him with eyes full of exhaustion rather than fear. "You deserve someone who isn't breaking," she whispered. Daniel's entire body went cold. "Don't say that." "But it's true." "No, you are my home, not a burden." Tears finally spilled down her cheeks. She buried her face in his chest and sobbed, something she rarely allowed herself to do. That night, he held her until she fell asleep, silently promising the universe he would protect her with whatever time they had left. Challenge 3: when hope faded. Months passed, treatments worked, then didn't. They got good news followed by worse news. That emotional whiplash broke something inside her. She stopped painting. She stopped laughing. Even sunlight didn't excite her anymore. One morning, she looked out the window for a long time and said quietly, "I don't think I'll see next year." Daniel felt his soul tear. But instead of falling apart, he walked to her, knelt down, and took her face in his hands. "I don't care if it's 1 year, 1 month, or 1 day," he whispered. "I will make every moment feel like a lifetime. You hear me? You are not alone. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever." And he held her tighter than he ever had. That moment changed everything. The turning point. After that conversation, Daniel began creating little reasons for her to look forward to each morning. He replayed videos of their happiest memories. He bought her favorite childhood snacks. He read her stories before bed. He played her favorite songs every morning. He planned small trips to places she loved. And slowly, very slowly, Elena began to come back to herself. She painted again. She laughed again. She even danced a little on days when her body allowed it. Life wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful again, even in its fragility. The crisis that almost broke everything. One night, her condition worsened suddenly. She collapsed while trying to get to the bathroom. Daniel rushed her to the emergency room, terrified he was losing her. Hours felt like days. When the doctor finally stepped out, he said, "She is stable but weak. She needs you emotionally more than ever." Daniel exhaled a breath he had been holding for hours and rushed to her bedside. She was awake, barely, her fingers cold in his. "You stayed," she whispered. "I will always stay." A love that chose to fight. Something changed in Elena after that. She fought harder, not because she believed she would fully recover, but because she finally understood how deeply she was loved. And Daniel, he found strength he didn't know he had. He worked part-time from home, spent nights in the hospital chair, and lived every moment with her as if it was a gift. Their love was no longer about the future. It was about now. About breath, about smiles, about saying, "I love you," 1,000 different ways through tiny acts of care. The final revelation. One quiet morning, as snow dusted the window, Elena looked at him and said, "You know, I used to be scared of dying, but now I'm more scared of leaving you alone." Daniel kissed her forehead. "You won't leave me alone," he whispered, "because love doesn't end, not even then." And she smiled, a fragile, beautiful smile, because she believed him. The message she left behind. Months later, her condition stabilized, not cured but calm. Calm enough to go home, to paint again, to sit in sunlight, to live. One afternoon, Daniel found a letter she had written during her darkest months. It said, "If you're reading this, it means I'm still here. Not because the illness gave me mercy, but because love gave me strength." He broke down reading it. Because he finally understood. Love doesn't heal diseases, but it heals hearts. And sometimes that's enough to keep someone alive. A strong and inspiring ending. Elena didn't know what next year would bring, but she stopped fearing it. Daniel didn't know how much time they had, but he cherished every second. And together they lived not by counting days, but by filling them. Their story wasn't about tragedy. It was about love that refused to surrender. Love that chose to stay. Love that held on, even when forever seemed